If you're feeling stuck in some area of your life, it's important to look inwards and decide if you may be getting in your own way somehow. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Leslie, and I am a life coach based here in Brisbane, Australia. And one thing that comes up a lot when I work with clients is this tendency that people have to sabotage their own progress. I want to talk about just 4 ways that people sometimes sabotage themselves, which may occur intentionally or unintentionally. And you may be able to recognize something you do yourself in these examples. Number 1. Negative self-talk. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I think a lot about how the words you use can impact things like how you make decisions and how you feel about yourself. And if you default to painting a negative picture of your life when you talk about yourself or your situation, you can start to absorb those ideas into your soul. Imagine you're trying to do something and struggling to do it correctly, something like being more comfortable in social settings, for example. So saying something like, "I'm no good with people," or "I suck at conversations," isn't going to help you improve your social skills. What it might do is give you an excuse to stop trying. If you believe you're just inherently not good at something, you're creating an extra unnecessary hurdle for yourself. And as humans, we are much more likely to act in the interest of proving ourselves right than proving ourselves wrong. So one way to combat negative self-talk is to convert negative statements into action-focused statements. So going back to the social skills example, instead of saying, "I'm no good with people," you can try saying something like, "I'm going to introduce myself to 5 new people at this party on Friday." Get more practice speaking in terms that will help you move forward instead of backwards. Number 2, borrowing other people's problems. Sometimes it's a little too easy to ignore the things in your life you know you should be working on by focusing on helping someone else through their problems. For example, you may be putting off something like writing a book or starting a fitness regimen because you've somehow convinced yourself that your best friend, who is single, needs to find a partner, and you must be the one to help him do it, whether he's asked you to or not. And that may seem like a silly example, but things like this happen a lot more often than people may be discussing out in the open. Now, I'm not saying that you should never help people, but it's important to be honest with yourself about the cost to you in terms of your time and your effort. It could be that you genuinely want to reach out to someone because you care about them, or because they need you to help them in a way that only you can. But if it's going to cost you energy that you need to address your concerns, that's something to at least slow down and think about before you go all in for them. It's also important to be honest with yourself about your motives for getting involved in their stuff. Other people's problems can be a very convenient place to hide, especially when you're being praised for helping someone out with whatever it is they're going through. It can create the illusion that you're doing something noble with your life, which is, of course, a very appealing proposition. And at this point, I want to clarify again that I'm not saying you shouldn't help people. That may be something that's really fulfilling for you. It may feed you in some positive way. And there are people who will need your help sometimes. Someone in your personal life, or maybe your child, or a charitable organization of some sort. So what I am saying is that it's important to look deeply within yourself to understand when a particular act of helping is appropriate and whether the impact on your own life is worth the time and energy you are giving to someone else. And if you have that voice in you telling you that you're hiding behind someone, you need to slow down and listen to it. Number 3, over-preparing or over-planning. Planning can be very helpful and is essential in some cases. If you are building a house, you need a plan. If you are on a fitness mission, outlining a workout schedule and an eating plan can really help keep you on track. But where planning becomes self-sabotage is when you spend too much time in those early preparation stages, outlining every little step and every little mitigation strategy and trying to make it bulletproof. And that can create the illusion of progress, the same way that going out and buying a really gorgeous, expensive guitar in order to motivate yourself to learn how to play might convince you that you're one step closer to guitar mastery, whether or not you ever learn how to play a single chord. And even saying the words, "I'm planning to ... may help you feel like you're getting somewhere with your goal when you might not actually be. It's important to recognize a point in the planning process where it's appropriate to start taking action before you've completely, fully prepared or, made your plan perfect. And one huge benefit of doing this is that it gives you more flexibility to change course if some part of your plan isn't as strong as you may have originally thought. But more importantly, it prevents you from getting stuck on the starting block and letting time and opportunities slip away from you. Remaining in those planning stages of any goal you want to achieve may feel quite safe, possibly a little too comfortable. This may be your comfort zone, and in order to change and to grow into the person you want to be, you need to step out of that comfort zone. Number 4, procrastination. The big P. Putting off something you want to do because you've convinced yourself that you are too busy or that thing isn't important enough to prioritize. If you really stop and think about it, there may be something in you right now that you want to achieve that's been there for a very long time. Getting back into the dating scene, starting a university course, or some other thing that would help you feel less stuck or stagnant in your life. To be fair, procrastination can have a lot of different causes, some of which you might not have control over at all, if you have some sort of neurological impairment, for example. But in most situations, you'd find that you do have control, and it's important to recognize when that is the case. In fact, here's a little exercise for you. I want you to think about something you've been meaning or wanting to do that you just haven't gotten around to. When did that first intention enter your mind, or how long have you been wanting to do this thing? Write it down. And be honest with yourself here. Has it been a few weeks, a few months, several years? Now, I want you to write down what obstacles have kept you from getting started. And things can get a little uncomfortable here, maybe even embarrassing. Because if you take the time to actually write down on paper your reasons for not doing something you've wanted to do, some of the reasons may start to look a bit silly. It's possible that there are some valid excuses there, but a lot of times, even those excuses which do have validity can be built on top of a very shaky foundation, formed by some not so valid excuses. And navigating through all of that can be really challenging when you're so close to the issue that it overwhelms you and adds pressure and brings up all of these ideas around your self-belief. And this is one of the reasons that working with a coach is so valuable. You could spend several more months or even years trying to figure out how to improve your circumstances on your own, or you can work with someone who will work with you to build an action plan with a timeline for how to get you where you want to be in your life. And that's one thing I do for my clients. Get on my website, book that first consultation. It won't cost you anything. We'll talk for about an hour, and we'll talk about where you might feel stuck in your life and what we can do as a team to get you unstuck. If you're located in Brisbane, we can meet right here in my lovely studio. And if you're in some other part of the world, we'll have our discussions online. You can also contact me through Facebook and Instagram, leave me a comment below, and remember to subscribe to my channel for more personal development content, and share my videos with anyone you know who wants to gain more confidence to live a more fulfilling life. Okay, have an awesome week, and I'll see you next time.